Good afternoon. Afternoon, everybody. Hope you are all well. Sorry for the slight delay. I won't go too much into it, but basically, my German Shepherd is not feeling very well, and he was sick. So some of you may be eating your lunch, so I'm not going to go into what happened, but put it this way, I had to clean some stuff up. And from a 45-kilogram German Shepherd, it wasn't very nice, let me tell you that. Who's in the room? Griffin, how you doing, pal? Shalinda, I'm not even going to try to pronounce your second name. Disanyaki? Ash, how you doing, mate? Kat, how are you? Kowalski, Athila, how you doing, buddy? Hope you are all well. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. And thanks for the likes before it starts. Always appreciate that. Legends. Thank you. All right, so let's get in the markets. There's a few things to watch today or to look at. And a good lesson I had yesterday. Which I'll go into as well. This is my watch list today. If you can't see that, it's there. So quite a few things to look at. Not bad. This and Yaki. Hey, Ravi, mate. Hope you're well. Okay, let's start with the index as we always do. How's everybody's trading been on this Wednesday? Are you making money so far? Hope you are. Hope you all are. I've not taken a trade this week at all. So SPX right now is in pullback mode. Nothing here worrying me at the moment. I thought on the 4-hour maybe we had our complex and possibly we could have moved from there. But I think the best place to look at this SPX is to use this daily chart. You know, we've had a good run. You know, had a good run. It can't go on forever. This is healthy. Well, at the moment this is healthy, and it would be a nice little corrective. Maybe roughly around that 20 for continuation to the upside. So for me, there's nothing much to analyze here. The SPX, it's in pullback mode. And I think possibly you look at that 20, that's what I use it for as a possible corrective in there. So sometimes when the SPX is in corrective mode, I'm not saying this is going to happen now, is you do get a little bit of strange movement, some possible lack of momentum, lack of follow through. So just be aware of that. And that's why we do our risk sentiment. But in saying that, the markets don't seem bad. The markets don't seem bad right now. So I don't want to say that it's going to end up being a bad market because it has actually been pretty good. 35 pips out of GU drop yesterday. A GU drop. Well done, mate. GU. I've got GJ on my list. Yeah, that was not a bad trade, you know. It's actually not a bad trade now, if you consider where it is. GU, latest impulse on your fib. It did breach that 61.8, which is not something I usually like. Pullback isn't perfect, but the DXY, which I'll go into, actually looks pretty good. So, I mean, you could look at that as starting to move to the downside with pound being relatively weak as it has been. You know, daily chart looks quite good. A indecision doji here, battle bar at this old support becoming new resistance. Maybe you get your evening star, or maybe again you get that complex corrective before continuation to the downside. So yeah, GO, good trade. I like that. We'll go into the dollar now, actually, because the dollar seems to be doing what we kind of thought on the Monday stream. I think it was the Monday stream, yeah, where we kind of thought this may take for a few days. Pull back to basically around that 20. Now, I hope I'm going to be spot on here because that would be quite nice, but maybe I'm not going to be. But this is looking quite good now. So the daily chart here is potentially, this is still on for a breakout on the dollar to the upside. Either way, if you get a close like it is now, yeah, we could see some more bullish momentum coming into the dollar. I did have a little bit of trepidations about this 4-hour because the extent of this pullback, but at the moment, considering we're possibly still, or we were in this corrective, which is possibly looking like it's going to change for movement up here, considering this price action. Again, you look at what happened here, we're kind of getting something similar to that, right? So with how that daily chart is, we can't discount that on intraday, the dollar is still technically downtrending, and this could be a pullback for continuation. I think my bias is that we get some more strength in that dollar. That's my personal bias. I think it's best to look at this on the daily chart, considering this larger structure we've identified. Push on, a few bars of consolidation, push through, tag this area again. We've got that reaction out of that area. pull back, and now possibly we come back to test it for dollar movement to the upside. That I think is my bias. It'd be a bit of a worry if this turns into a bit more of a climactic move, because sometimes they are liable for a snapback. But in the grand scheme of things, yeah, I think dollar looks quite good. Certainly if it closes, so if the daily closes, it's still got a long way to go. But if the daily closes, kind of how it is now, this would look good for movement to the upside. And maybe even a possible aggressive entry on that daily chart if it closes on a little bit of, well, higher volume than this, obviously, would be a decent possible aggressive entry into that dollar. Hi, Einrib. Sorry, I'm going to butcher some of your names. Einrib, how you doing, buddy? Okay, let's get into my watch list today. So, USD CAD, I am watching intently. I do like this. Whether this retests now, we'll have to wait and see. I like where the daily is. A very simple chart patterns and very simple technical theory, possibly coming out of this corrective from this impulse to the downside. We have rejected off that 200. We're getting some loss of momentum from this bar to the upside, and imprinted an inverted hammer here. So again, very simple chart patterns. So this is technically a bearish indicator on a little bit of increasing volume. So maybe this corrective is possibly coming to an end for movement to the downside. Now the setup here is on this 30-minute or 1 hour on this bigger V reversal. You can see here, V reversal, nice consolidation period prior to a break. Now this retest at the moment is not looking very nice. Okay, so if this stays like this, it would probably have to turn into a possible complex. Now I can take a retest. So you notice how we've got this wick here, this wick at this section. Okay, so I've identified this as our major zone. Yep, but I can also take a retest if it comes back to this area, which it basically is at now. But obviously I can't take a retest until we get that 20 period catch up. I can also look at it on this hourly chart, considering we've filled those order, I think, at the 200 for a possible, again, possible complex corrective here, continuation to the downside. So USD CAD I like it. I know we're predicting dollar strength, but you know, with the way the chart is, this for me is in a perfect position for a possible, and remember with all my trades, I want them to run as much as they can, but a possible movement to the downside. And if it doesn't retest or it doesn't give me what I want and it does decide to fake out and move to the upside, then fine, I'm not in it. You know, I'm not in it. I don't lose any money. I don't make any money. Capital protection. You use the EMA or I use the SMA, Kowalski. The 20 simple and 200 simple. I just prefer them. I don't think there's any massive. Obviously, the difference between the EMA and the SMA is the EMA puts more weight on recent price action, right? But I found with my testing, a 20 simple is perfectly fine. I think you do need to have either a 20 simple or 21 EMA, something around that bracket on your charts, because it's great for pullback entries. You know, it's great for finding where price might stall to. You know, here. You know, it's great for that. So I think if you don't have a 20 or a 21 EMA, you need to have it on your chart, because it really helps you. And as a visual guide, you can see when things are potentially too extended to move into. You know, so if we, you know, if we're looking at selling it down here and you've got a massive gap here with your 20, it may put a little bit of doubt in your mind. So just by simple things there, and, you know, we're getting that pullback. I know this is not to the 20. It's not going to be perfect every time, but something around there certainly helps you get into or avoid bad trades, avoid extensions, avoid FOMO, and getting into moves when the move's already done. GJ's on my list. I don't know whether we get this or not. The only issue with GJ here is where it is on this daily. But because it is GJ does move quite well, as we've seen here. So we've had a few days here of a consolidation from this big move. 20 period is now coming back over. I like where the 4 hour is. The setup is here in terms of our head and shoulders. It's had a bit of a movement to the upside, so we'll probably have to reset up for breakout retest to move to the downside. But it's something I'm going to keep my eye on. So GJ potential movement. The only worry about this is where it is on the daily chart. I'd still be looking at sells rather than buys. You know, you consider this, again, if you put a simple fib on it from here, you know, we're still at that 61.8, which is that line in the sand. So technically, trend continuation is still on the cards. But because of the extent of this move, it's not something I would be buying into just yet. And I think maybe it's something you have to possibly wait a little bit on before we make a decision on it. But I'm going to keep an eye on it because the setup's not too bad. Short GJ after it breaks 152. So this area here. Yeah, do you know what? I wouldn't mind it. I would be looking for a breakout retest. My only worry is because this time frame's good, right? The 4-hour time frame's great. This is great. You know, we're getting some an inverted hammer here, potential and a bit of volume. Again, this is good. 20 period close by, 200 close by. These are all nice. The only issue I have with it is that daily chart, which is technically the most powerful. But it is GJ, so GJ can move quite well, and it has had 3 days of price action. So it is something I'll look at. Who asked me that? Einrib. It is something I'll look at, but it needs to break out and retest for me. And I think a breakout retest is a safer option instead of getting possibly into a fake out because the daily's not ready to move, and this moves back up and stops you out. So I think a breakout retest is always the safer play when the daily is like that. Yeah, no worries, mate. USAR I think is gone. One of my favorite top 3 pairs to trade. It did break out. It didn't give me the retest I liked, but it's starting to move on now. So yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I love USAR. I love USAR to trade. It was a nice clean setup here. Notice there, nice clean setup. Push on, a few bars accumulation, push through the area, and then the retest just wasn't very nice. Wasn't very nice. Couldn't get involved in that. I mean, look where the 4-hour is. So although this isn't the best pullback, we've got our confluence here with this price action moving to the upside. So I was quite happy looking for longs, as well as on the daily. Technically on the daily, we are on an uptrend. Okay, this isn't nice, as I said on the 4-hour, but we have our confluence there with that outside bullish engulfing on that 20 period, on this uptrend. So that's the kind of slight differences you need to look for with your confluence with your trades. But yeah, unfortunately, USAR is gone for me. Gone for me. Silver is still setting up. Silver is still setting up quite nicely. You guys know what I should be knowing what I'm looking for now. I'm still monitoring this aggressive entry from here. But yeah, need something a little bit more on this daily chart to go long. Not going to go massively into that now. I think a lot of you know what I'm looking for. Swiss yen. Swiss yen on the list on this 4-hour chart. The daily is counter trend. There's no doubt about it. The daily is counter trend, but I don't really like this price action moving to the upside. So the setup is potentially coming on the 4-hour with this larger head and shoulders context. I need a little bit more considering the size of this basing structure. I need a little bit more here to be able to take this break to the downside. But because of that daily, where it's a little bit like, okay, well, are we losing momentum? You know, are we going to get this possibly from this decent move to the upside? Even though the weekly and stuff is good, the daily is starting to shift a little bit for me. So if we do get that, and this could obviously rise from here because technically it is still uptrending, but if we do get something quite nice in here to move to the downside, I would like that in Swiss yen for a possible trend change. Hey Lam, hi Ryan, GA in a big pullback. I'll look into GA. I've got it on my list. I'll go into GJ in a second. Euro NZD. Euro NZD is something again that I do like. This is counter trend, but it's just an idea at the moment. We've got our V reversal here. Tag this area, this significant area, i.e. our probably, I mean, you'd probably call it in a range right now, but we're getting possibly our head and shoulders. 200 may cause an issue, but let's see what happens. I need another reload here to be able to take this to the upside. It is counter trend, but we've crossed this 200. We had a slight fake out to the downside, which I don't mind. And you're kind of getting that possible reminiscence of that HNS on that daily chart. So again, that's your confluence with your counter trend. You always have to have that confluence to take a counter trend trade, and you've kind of got that here, where we are coming from here, but the premise of the head and shoulders, albeit simplistic in nature, is that it's a trend change indicator. So Euro NZD could be a decent trade if it gets me a little bit more than I want. Hey Dylan, mate. Andy, how you doing, pal? Hope you are well. Euro NZD, and then we'll go, I've got pound Aussie and silver against the euro. And then if you want me to look at anything, put it into the chat and I will have a gander. So pound Aussie lamb, big pullback. I'm looking at pound Aussie long, okay, counter trend long. We've got our basing structure here. Okay, I can't take the break yet. I would obviously need my handle or cup with handle within a cup with handle. Let that 200 come down, let that 20 come up. That squeeze into the area so that our breakout is above the 200, above the 20, and above this trend anchor. So that for me would be nice. I need a little bit more. My confluence is coming in terms of this pullback. Price action is dictating to me that there's strength in this pullback. You know, we look at the dominant candles here, and they're quite good. You know, we're now above that 200, we're above that 20. Yes, we could fail. We could fail and continue to the downside. Absolutely, we could. But if this continues to set up like it is, and you know, give us this, then this would be quite nice on GA. But again, that could completely fail. It could completely fail, in my opinion, Lam. So if you're looking at the daily and it does close like this, it might not be a bad short, considering it's a possible ABC continuation to the downside from this downtrend. You're going with that trend. Makes sense to me. But I would just be worried about these particular bars on GA for a pullback entry. But hey, I could be completely wrong, right? Could be completely wrong. And finally, silver against the euro. Silver against the euro is the last one on me list. Silver against the euro, I like where the daily is. Again, with these counter trends, you're always going to have something in the way. We've got that 200 in the way. However, I'm looking at this on the 4-hour chart. We've got our nice V reversal from our uptrending market, i.e. impulse corrective continuation. This is our key level. We've got our tag of our key level. We're coming back. If I can get very similar to GA, very similar to Swiss yen, a little bit more, because remember, this is the most important part of the breakout up here, to take this to the upside, then I certainly will, because I like where that daily is. And again, our breakout will hopefully be above that 200 if we continue to consolidate at this area. So maybe it'll come in the form of an ABC, which sometimes turned into that, which is perfect. It's exactly what I like. Actually, my favorite pre-context breakout. Let that 20, which looks close by, squeeze into the area, take a break to the upside. Thank you very much. I do like that. So silver against the euro is something I'll continue to watch, maybe for the end of the week, possibly early next week. Syed, how you doing, buddy? What's your thoughts about EG? You just took a short. So yeah, let me know if you want me to look at anything, guys. I don't know if Dylan's here. Dylan, yeah, Dylan. Let me get, actually, before I go into your guys' pairs, Dylan had a good question on Discord today. So I'm not gonna put your name in here, Dylan. I'll just read it out. So Dylan is back testing a strategy, right? And what you said to me is, in your back testing, you have an 18% win rate, okay? So if you tested around, so you tested around 100 trades, right? And you've got an 18% win rate, which is why you're worried. Now let me tell you why. You can, it depends on your strategy, right? So if you have an 18% win rate, you can still be profitable, okay? If your payoff ratio is massive, 4 or 5R, whatever it is, okay? With an 18% win rate, you're obviously counting on your big trades. Now that's fine if you can handle that psychologically. You got to think about demo testing and real world trading, okay? So if you're okay losing, I mean, 20% is 24, 60, 4 trades out of 5, that's okay, because you know on your 5th one or whatever, at 1 out of 5, you're going to win massively. But it's just psychology if you can handle that. What for me, I wouldn't like that from my psychology, because I know I couldn't handle it. I like winning trades, as everybody does. And my payoff ratio, because I've got a bit of a higher win rate, is a bit lower. So my payoff ratio is about 1.36 on average, okay, which means it's 1.36R that I roughly make on probably whatever, 100 trades, 1,000 trades. So what you need to figure out, firstly, with your back testing is, okay, if you've got an 18% win rate and your payoff ratio is that 4 or 5R and you are profitable at the end of the year, okay, that's great. But it's whether you can handle that. Now, what I would suggest is, because you're a little bit worried about it, you said to me you're a bit worried about it, is you need to get this up. Okay, so whether that means possibly if your payoff ratio is high, it means your entries or your stop losses are quite aggressive. Okay, so maybe you're buying or selling the particular candle, which I used to do, which again is good for your payoff ratio, but it's bad for your win rate. So I used to do that. I put my stop underneath the candle and buy the candle. But I found a lot of the times, and again, this was through back testing, that if I had a breakout retest on the candle here, okay, it would sometimes come back, clip me out, and then continue to the upside. But obviously, in the ones that it goes, you make a lot of money. But I found that for me, I think giving your trades a little bit of room to move increases that win rate, but fair enough, it reduces the payoff ratio. But for psychology-wise, it certainly helps. So that's something I would say, Dylan, is maybe look at where your stop loss is, because your premise of your back testing, your premise of your strategy is good. So you're using, Fibonacci, support and resistance, break and retest, and pullbacks to a fib level, swing trading on the 4-hour, 1-hour chart, right? So the essence of your strategy seems to be like it should be profitable, and it should be more profitable. So one thing I would suggest that you look at is possible your stop loss location, maybe your trade management system. Maybe taking some money off the table at 1.5R or 1R or 2R, whatever it is, or using an SAR. I really like the SAR as a trade management technique, using maybe a moving average crossover, but I probably wouldn't recommend that. Support and resistance, but maybe taking some money off the table might help you with your equity curve. So if we talk about our equity curve, can I bring this up? Here, I can get my back testing here. Give me a second, guys. Excuse me. Okay, so let me get this up, and I'm just going to talk about the equity curve just specifically, because I think it's important. And then I'll go into your trades. Where is this? Come on. Doesn't seem to be working. Why is that not loading up? Okay, I can't. It's not loading up. I'll get it for the next time. But I'll just use Paint here, right? So when you're back testing, you get an equity curve, right? In any of your software, it should give you an equity curve, i.e. your performance over time. What you want is an equity curve that kind of looks like this. Because again, that is easy to handle psychologically. Because we got to remember, 20 or 30% strategy, 70 or 80% psychology. That's what trading comes down to. But if you've got an equity curve that looks like, for example, this is very hard, even though it's going up, this is very hard to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So what you're looking for is a bit more of a nice consistent growth, rather than maybe this and then bang and then this and then bang and then this. Because maybe during these times, you may lose your head. I know I did. I lost my head many times before this happened. And what I would do is, essentially, if I was doing that with your 18%, now I'm not saying you can't do this. This is just me personally. But if I was doing this and then this, sometimes I wouldn't get to here because I'd over risk and do all that nonsense here, and I'd end up down here and losing money, So that's why I would suggest. Possibly, it seems like your strategy is good in general, going swing trading, going with the trend, right? It seems to be profitable. But an important part of the strategy is where your stop loss is your trade management technique, and maybe that's where you need to kind of modify to increase that win rate, in my personal opinion. So anyway, hope that helped, Dylan. Again, if anybody wants to ask me questions, you can do it here or on Discord, on Instagram, whatever, and I'll It's quite good because other people might get value from that, you know? So other people might get value. Okay, EG, Syed, sorry, EG. A step beside, yeah, exactly, yeah. I got a lot of experience in that, Einrib, a lot of experience in that. EG, sorry, EG. Hey, Ivan, how you doing, mate? EG. And yeah, so I think I said this before about a good quote I saw online by someone, Burns, kind of big guy online, about some people be a bad trader for so long that they stop being a shit trader and start being a good trader, and that resonated with me so much. I was fucking terrible. Let me tell you, I was a terrible trader, and I got so fed up of being a terrible trader that I started to become a good trader because you get sick of it. You know, you get sick of blowing accounts. You get sick of over trading. You get sick of doing silly things that you just don't do them anymore. You just don't do them anymore. And it didn't. Obviously, back testing and mentoring helped, but it took maybe for me that 1 month, 2 months, no, 1 month actually, to change everything. And I realized, do you know what? It's easy. Well, it's not easy. That's a bad thing to say. It's different. And, you know, you look back, and I look back and I'm thinking, what the hell was I doing? You know, what on earth was I doing? But it's something that you probably have to go through to get out of. And then, you know, I do think it's a rite of passage for anybody who wants to be successful in this industry. I think it's a rite of passage. You have to blow accounts. You have to make stupid mistakes to not do them anymore. I could tell you, and I could tell many people this, don't do this and don't do that. You're probably going to do it, you know? People in the RTFX members, they're probably going to do it, but then they learn from it, and hopefully you don't do it again. Or it might take 20 times doing it, but then you won't do it again. Sorry, charts. Sorry, charts. Let's go into charts. Euro pound, what did you ask me? You just took a short. I'm not sure if I would be too happy with the short right now. You're going against that trend. Decent pullback. There was your, you know, when we talk about pullbacks, you've got your potential. I'm not saying this can't go down, but you've got your potential catalyst for your pullback entry with your outside bullish engulfer on a little bit of volume. So in terms of a pullback, maybe that signals, with that little bit of volume coming in, that this pullback is over and it wants to continue to the upside. So I would be a little bit worried about that short side. I'm not saying it can't, because the daily chart, you certainly could get a reaction from this 200. You've got some indicators there on the daily that could move this to the downside. So if you had a stop loss which is above that, and you've got given it space to move, then yeah, I wouldn't mind that on the daily chart. A possible short here would make sense. But on the 4 hour, on these smaller time frames, it doesn't look too bad for movement to the upside. Doesn't, to be completely honest with you, the way I'm looking at. I like winning too, yeah. 18% a bit too. Yeah, 18% would be too low for me. It's not something I could handle. Hey, Rohan, mate, how you doing, pal? Your journey is a role model for... Oh, thank you, Syed. I appreciate that. It's exactly like any true traders who's blown, yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure, but the indicator you use is tick volume. If yes, how do you use it in your trading? So it's just a standard volume that you get on you know, any indicator. So not any chart, just a standard volume. There's various ways you can use volume in your trading, but I'm just going to talk about 3 ways. 3 very basic ways you can use volume in trading. 1 is exhaustive moves. Okay. 2 is climactic moves. And 3 is essentially pullback moves, right? So your exhaustive moves is when markets have been trending healthily for quite some time, right? And you see volume potentially coming in at the top here, where essentially, in this circumstance, buyers are getting exhausted. Okay, so profit taking up here. So that's the first. I mean, this is a big kind of topic in itself, but I'm just going to analyze it very simply. So that's the first way you can use volume. The second way is climactic moves. So climactic moves, basically price action goes like this, gets a little bit climactic, okay, which is the premise of my fake out strategy, which I'm testing, still in the process of forward testing now. But if you see volume coming in at the top of that structure, i.e. on your climactic moves, it's an indication of a possible snapback. Okay, so that's the second way you can use volume. And the third is in your pullback. So essentially, kind of like this euro pound. You're looking for volume around that Fibonacci 40-60 box, let's say 40-60. If you get some volume coming in around that area, i.e. kind of how we've got here, increasing volume in that pullback stage, that's how you can use volume to possibly indicate the end of a pullback. So it doesn't, there's other things you can add into that, but that's essentially a few ways that you can look at volume. I did actually a whole video on that in the Trading Academy for RTFX. So if you're interested in that, links there, etc., etc. You know where they are if you want to join for 7 days free. Fadil, hey buddy, could you analyze euro yen? Okay, I'll do euro yen. Yeah, you took it because of daily. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that side. Yeah, I would agree with that. Certainly, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? So it certainly could play out. Also, guys, like the stream. Come on, give me the 25 likes. That's my goal on every stream. 25 likes would be brilliant. Cheers, guys. 30 watching. Lovely. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate that. Okay, euro yen. Oh, sorry, Ivan. I didn't do AU and EU. Excuse me. Okay, so I'll do euro yen, I'll do AU, and I'll do EU, and then I'll be off ski. So euro yen. Euro yen. Euro yen. What do we say here? What do we say in euro yen? Probably not a very nice chart. To be honest, Fadil, I can't really. You know, you could say, yep, we're coming from here, potential corrective, but you've got no indication there that this wants to continue just yet. So your path of least resistance is to the upside, but I've got no indication yet that maybe you're getting it here, maybe possibly that this wants to move back to the upside. It would support risk sentiment, but with a pullback potentially coming in the stocks, will the yen increase in strength? I don't think it's a very nice chart, to be honest, Fadil. I don't think it's a very nice chart. Maybe there on a breakout of this zone, possibly. I think there's better things to be trading, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, yeah, I think there's better things to be trading. AU, Aussie dollar. Yeah, guys, please like the stream. Go on, 25, make my day. Aussie, oh, sorry, that's not Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar is, I mean, I would say it's kind of, actually it's a little bit better. If you're looking at there, breakout of that zone, roughly at this liquidity zone, spike, wick, support area for continuation. Yeah, Aussie dollar, you're below these moving averages now on the daily. The daily looks a little bit stronger for maybe a change in trend, but you know, that this is still on the cards. You know, it's still on the cards. But you've also got a breakthrough on this daily wick, which is something that I always like to see. So if you got this, which is technically a bullish sign, right? I always like to see a little break underneath that, and we've got that. With dollar strength coming in, yeah, I think Aussie dollar looks decent to the downside. Slight little, I mean, it's not a context that I like, but if you get a retest and a reason to enter here for movement to the downside, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Aussie dollar short. EU, Euro USD. Our little Euro USD competition is possibly playing out to what we thought. You know, we got that little movement from this possible fake out back to that golden 20, and maybe we're doing this. That's what my bias is with EU. That was my bias on Monday. Maybe it changes. Maybe you get this, or obviously maybe you get this. But at the moment, this is still what I think with EU. Eventually a break to the downside. I mean, that's got to be your bias, right? It's got to be your bias until that changes. So until we get a break above structure here, in which case it could actually be a setup to the upside because you're breaking through that trend anchor for that. I might add that to my list, actually, if this does push to the upside. But I think the bias still has to be down on this daily chart for me. But that 4 hour, there's no doubt that 4 hour is a possible bullish sign there. You know, there's no doubt that 4 hours is a possible bullish sign. On a little bit of volume, fair enough, this is over Asia. But yeah, that might not be too bad if that sets up on EU. Stafford, what's your main strategy? My main strategy, my first strategy was the breakout retest. So that is my bread and butter. I love that strategy. But I only take that on the, well, actually, no, I take that on every time frame. But primarily, I look for the 30-minute and 1 hour. Yeah, I love that. I love that breakout retest. But the problem is it's quite rare. You know, it is quite rare. But that's okay. I mean, because I'm allowed to risk a bit more. I'm allowed to risk 2% because it is a bit more rare. So with this USD CAD, so this is quite good now. So we've got our little tag here. What I'm looking for is an ABC. This may fall here. Okay, this can fall, but I can't get involved in it. This is why I'm pretty selective. But this is good. So I can't take it. If this breaches the lows here, it's not technically a complex corrective. I would need that for continuation to the downside. But that looks pretty good. You know, this is the problem with my breakout retest, is because I'm selective, that's technically a retest, right? If we go down to the 15-minute, I mean, it's technically a retest there. It's just not something that I can get involved in, because over the long period, over the long run, I don't think that works as well for my particular strategy. And then I have my breakout strategy, which I take on the 4-hour and daily. That's it kind of involves the same context of my breakout retest, but with a bit more added sauce, should we say, because I need a little bit more if you're taking a breakout, because lots of breaks are fake outs. I'm developing a fake out strategy, which seems to work best in kind of volatile markets or not really trending markets, sometimes when the SPX is pulling back, but I don't have enough data on that yet. It's specifically for the euro. Involving climactic moves. So basically the fake out strat is involving this 20 period, looking for extensions or breaks of levels as climactics or exhaustive moves, volume coming in there. Let's say this is the 4-hour chart. Okay, massive extension from the 20 period, moving down to the 30-minute or 1 hour for a catalyst, i.e. maybe inverted hammer and golfer on a bit of volume, to take that as a potential snapback. So that's what I'm developing right now. The good thing about that is the risk reward is awesome. You know, 4 or 5R you can potentially get on those fake outs. And the other one is that aggressive entry, which I'm, again, still in the process of developing. So right now it's breakout, retest, and breakout. That's my bread and butter. And I'm not going to waste my money. I'm not going to risk my money on something I don't know if it works or not. So that's what I need to find out. Come on, guys. 2 more likes to 25. 2 more likes to 25. Hey, Rohit, mate. No problem, pal. No problem. Okay, pound USD. Pound USD. Pound USD, and then I'm done. Pound USD. Normally, I'll only do 20 minutes, but obviously there's more people in it, so I'm talking for more because there's more questions. So, I mean, that's a great thing. I did pound USD. You asked me about pound USD. INSAF. I did pound USD already at the start of the stream, actually. So if you scroll back or if you rewind it, you'll be able to see my analysis on pound USD. It looks okay for downside movement. Yeah, so rewind then to see that. 25 legends, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Deserve more subs. Yeah, I've been this is, do you know what? This is growing on social media is I would liken it as difficult as becoming a trader. You know, certainly always say like trying to get to 1,000 subs. And this has become like, I really enjoy this, you know. This has become a real target for me. So I consider like I've kind of almost done it in trading. I still want that 200K. But that's probably when I would consider like, okay, I'm kind of there. Certainly when I try and get 1 million in funded. But man, growing on social media is difficult. It's a lot of work, a lot of work. And you notice that when you do it, you notice that there's other accounts that have got a lot of followers that when you think, shit, have they bought followers? You know, when you actually do it properly, you're thinking something dodgy about that character there. Certainly when it comes to the trading universe, where all these guys have thousands of followers, but like 2 likes on their posts and stuff. But it's a difficult game, as is trading. But like anything you do, right, you have to put the work in to get the rewards. Oh yeah, man, it's difficult. 1K subs, yeah, that's my goal. 1K subs by Christmas is my goal, and hopefully I'll be able to get there. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Oh god, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Sometimes I'm like, why am I putting all this work in? I could just go and trade by myself. But no, I actually, these YouTubes, I love doing the streams. I generally love doing the streams and having all you guys in here. I generally do. Making videos, I don't like. So I don't like recording videos and editing videos. I dislike that. Dislike it. But these lives are much better for me for some reason. So when I'm recording something, I forget how to speak English. I have to redo it like 5 or 6 times for some reason. But when I'm live, I'm just kind of in the zone and flowing. But yeah, it's just something you have to do, right? Anyway, I've done almost an hour. Oh no, it's not an hour. I've done almost 45 minutes. That's fine. So I appreciate you guys liking the stream. Appreciate you guys coming, and I'll see you all on Friday. Remember to trade safe and keep an eye on that USD card, I guess. Seems to be my pick for today. Watch for that retest. It'll be nice. Thanks, Rohit, mate. I appreciate that. All right, guys, trade safe. Peace.